Julia Roberts has just revealed shocking details about George Clooney's rocky journey through his divorce and the emotional toll it took on his life. Behind his public charm, Julia describes George as a man hiding heartbreak, struggling to rebuild himself after love left him shattered. But what really stunned everyone? Tune in as we uncover how Julia's quiet influence changed George's life forever, and the secret she's only now letting slip. Clooney's quiet evolution. The early 2000s, a golden era of questionable fashion and the peak of Ocean's movie magic. Roberts and Clooney, the dynamic duo, are busy playing charming criminals on screen while off-screen. They're living it up at George's sprawling estate. Julia's pregnant, glowing, and apparently being treated like she's made of antique porcelain. If that's not the setup for an elite friendship, what is? But behind the laughter, the glittering parties, and the perfectly timed banter, there's a secret. One that Clooney swore he'd never tell. Until now. Fast forward a couple of decades, and here's Julia giving us the tea on George's post-marital drama. Now, let's not act surprised. George's love life has been a tabloid buffet for years. The man's been a walking, talking, confirmed bachelor stereotype ever since his ill-fated first marriage to Talia Balsam, a relationship that lasted about as long as a Hollywood awards season campaign. According to Roberts, George's divorce years were not pretty. Oh no, they were a roller coaster of emotions. And if you've ever been on an emotional roller coaster, you know it's less Six Flags and more, why did I get on this thing? She paints a picture of a guy stuck in a funk, career thriving, heart not so much. Think Hollywood heartthrob meets the human embodiment of a melancholy playlist. What did George do after this? He swore off marriage like it was some cursed relic from an Indiana Jones set. Instead, he became the poster child for Hollywood bachelorhood. High-profile flings, check. Red carpet arm candy, double check. And yet, Roberts hints that beneath the surface, it was all an act. The suave, unattached Clooney was apparently just a cover for a guy nursing a heartbreak and dodging emotional entanglements like paparazzi. No, her approach was subtler, a steady drip of inspiration, showing George what a healthy, stable relationship could look like. Her own marriage to Danny Moder, a rare Hollywood anomaly of low drama and actual happiness, was her not-so-secret weapon. Of course, it wasn't just about talking up her own love life. She respected George's independence and let him come to his own conclusions. She'd nudge, he'd reflect, rinse, and repeat. Slowly but surely, George started to see the cracks in his bachelor armor. Sure, he still played the part of the untethered leading man in movies like Up in the Air, but in real life, the act was wearing thin. Enter Amal Alamuddin in 2013. A human rights lawyer with beauty, brains, and an eliminated wardrobe, Amal was a game-changer. Naturally, she was one of the first to cheer George on. She'd been there through the dark times, so seeing George finally take a leap of faith must have felt like a victory lap for Team Love. And what a leap it was. The man didn't just date Amal. He dove headfirst into a whirlwind romance, complete with a Venice wedding that screamed A-list royalty. Taking a closer look at their enduring bond, it's clear that George and his closest friends are the ultimate Hollywood outliers. While most friendships in the industry dissolve under the weight of egos and competing schedules, theirs has thrived. Their camaraderie isn't just about shared memories. It's built on mutual respect and a deep understanding of each other's quirks. For George, humor and charm have always been his defining traits, a source of light even during his darker days. On the flip side, loyalty and grounded nature among those closest to him provided a sense of stability he often lacked. It's a partnership dynamic that's as refreshing as it is rare. What's particularly fascinating is how subtle influences shaped his perspective on relationships. There was no preaching or pressure, just leading by example. Witnessing others balance career and family life with grace undoubtedly left an impression. It showed that commitment didn't have to mean losing oneself. And then there's Amal. If those influences planted the seeds of change, Amal was the one who helped them bloom. A powerhouse in her own right, Amal's intelligence and passion were impossible to ignore. She challenged, inspired, and ultimately helped him see that love could be a source of strength rather than a liability. Their love story was a whirlwind, marked by quiet dinners, intellectual debates, and a shared commitment to making the world a better place. When he proposed to Amal in 2014, It was a moment that surprised even those closest to him. Here was the ultimate bachelor, ready to trade in his single status for a life of partnership and family. Their Venice wedding was nothing short of spectacular, a celebration that brought together friends, family, and a who's who of Hollywood. Since then, their life together has been a blend of glamour and groundedness. They've tackled parenthood with the same dedication they bring to their careers, raising their twins with a mix of love, discipline, and humor. Fatherhood has been a transformative experience, giving him a newfound sense of purpose and joy. And through it all, Julia has been there, cheering them on from the sidelines. She's watched her friend evolve from a reluctant bachelor to a devoted husband and father, and it's clear she couldn't be prouder. Their friendship stands as a testament to the power of loyalty, empathy, and a shared sense of humor. So what's the takeaway from all this? Perhaps it's that even in the glittering, chaotic world of Hollywood, real connections can endure. Or maybe it's a reminder that growth is always possible, even for those who seem most set in their ways. Either way, George Clooney's journey from bachelorhood to family man is a story worth celebrating, and the role of his longtime collaborator in it is one that shouldn't be overlooked. Some Hollywood friendships last longer than anyone expects. A tale of friendship and fame. Let's get this straight. Hollywood friendships don't exactly have a reputation for standing the test of time. All those red carpets, award season snubs, and competitive egos usually mean friends forever. Lasts about as long as a box office flop stays in theaters. But then there's George Clooney and his trusted partner in crime, the golden pair who've somehow managed to keep their bond intact for over 20 years. And yes, they're still riding that wave, even though the rest of Hollywood's friendships have gone the way of Clooney's bachelor lifestyle, outdated and retired. Their little tale of camaraderie kicked off way back in the year 2000 on the set of Ocean's 11. You'd think two huge stars would circle each other like wary cats, but nope, sparks flew. Platonic sparks, that is. According to Clooney, who loves a good soundbite, they hit it off instantly. And just like that, they were off to the races. Not in the romantic sense, relaxed tabloids, but in the let's make millions on screen together while having a blast sense. A win-win, right? From there, they hopped onto the Hollywood conveyor belt of sequels and side projects. Ocean's 12, because when has Hollywood ever resisted cashing in? Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Money Monster, and more recently, Ticket to Paradise. Every movie featured that patented Clooney and Company banter that's half charm, half eye-roll-worthy sarcasm. Critics called it chemistry. Skeptics might call it showing up for a paycheck with a buddy you tolerate. Either way, the formula worked. Moviegoers lapped it up, and their partnership became something of a brand. If Hollywood's favorite friends was a stock, you'd want to invest. Off-camera, their dynamic is one part mutual support and two parts elaborate prank war. Clooney, famous for being Hollywood's resident joker, met his match in his co-star. She's no saint either when it comes to on-set antics. Together, they've violent methods, co-stars and crew alike, with endless pranks. One has to wonder, does this humor stem from genuine affection or just boredom during endless takes? Whatever it is, it's been good for headlines. And then there's the personal stuff. Clooney spent the early 2000s convincing the world he was a permanent bachelor, only to blindside everyone by marrying Amal Alamuddin, an accomplished human rights lawyer, in 2014. By 2017, he had twins. Roberts herself is no stranger to the spotlight. She's navigated her own roller coaster of fame, family, and film flops. Let's not pretend every movie was a Pretty Woman. But through it all, there's Clooney, ready to gush about her talent, humor, or whatever other compliment will make headlines that day. In return, Roberts is quick to call Clooney her favorite co-star or share a cute anecdote about their friendship. It's almost like they're trying to keep their brand alive. Cynical? Maybe. But Hollywood thrives on nostalgia, and these two have plenty to go around. No Hollywood friendship is complete without a side of public intrigue. Clooney's personal life has always been fodder for gossip rags, so when whispers of trouble in paradise popped up about his marriage, it didn't take long for Robert's name to get dragged into the narrative. Did she really break her silence about Clooney's rumored issues? Hard to say. But even if she didn't, the gossip machine loves to spin a good tale. Roberts and Clooney's friendship, solid as it might be, isn't immune to Hollywood's favorite pastime, creating drama where there might not be any. expanding beyond the publicized moments. The longevity of their friendship may rest on something less glamorous than Hollywood likes to admit: workplace camaraderie. For decades, the set of a film has been a second home to actors, and shared hours under hot lights or repeating lines dozens of times often forges connections that might not develop anywhere else. Clooney and Roberts exemplify this phenomenon. In the dozens of interviews and press junkets they've done together, there's a visible ease between them. It's the kind of casual banter that usually doesn't survive in an industry where publicists and egos loom large. Perhaps their friendship is less a miraculous anomaly and more a byproduct of shared career paths. Still, the constant polishing of their Hollywood's best buddies image raises eyebrows. For all the pranks and laughter, there's a very intentional marketing machine at play. Their shared projects have netted hundreds of millions of dollars, and a good chunk of that is owed to the story of their partnership off-screen. Audiences aren't just buying tickets for the film, they're buying into the relationship that's been carefully curated over decades. It's a strategy that's worked well for both of them, and it's part of why their friendship has stayed front and center in the public consciousness. Let's not forget how rare their bond is in a world dominated by fierce competition. Hollywood is notorious for being a dog-eat-dog world, where actors often see each other as threats rather than allies. It's worth questioning whether Roberts and Clooney's friendship has endured partly because they're rarely competing for the same roles. Their careers have taken distinct paths. Roberts as America's sweetheart, and Clooney as Hollywood's debonair everyman. There's little overlap, which might explain why their friendship has remained untainted by professional jealousy. Even with all the goodwill, their friendship isn't entirely immune to public scrutiny. Clooney's foray into family life has often been juxtaposed with Roberts' well-documented challenges in maintaining privacy for her own children. Their vastly different approaches to balancing personal and professional lives have occasionally invited commentary about who's doing it better, an unfair and frankly tired narrative that plays into stereotypes about men and women in Hollywood. But for the most part, they've managed to sidestep the pitfalls that often drag long-term friendships into the mud. Every partnership has a star who stands out: the dual lives of Hollywood's sweetheart. Of course, longevity alone doesn't make a friendship admirable. What sets Clooney and Roberts apart is their willingness to lean into their public personas and laugh at themselves in the process. Whether it's Clooney roasting Roberts during award shows or Roberts sharing behind-the-scenes anecdotes that feel carefully vetted but still funny, they've mastered the art of self-aware celebrity friendship. They're in on the joke, and that's part of what makes their dynamic so appealing to fans. Let's talk about Julia Roberts. You know, the America's sweetheart, whose grin could light up a room, or apparently distract you from thinking too hard about her career choices. Born to actor parents, Betty Lou and Walter Roberts, Julia practically grew up with the smell of theater dust in her nostrils. Her parents ran some artsy little thing called the Atlanta Actors and Writers Workshop, so it's not exactly shocking that she ended up in Hollywood. When you're raised with parents staging monologues in the living room, what else are you gonna do? Sell insurance? Please. Julia's early years weren't exactly glitzy. After trudging through Campbell High School, no scandals there, boring, she briefly dabbled in higher education at Georgia State University. But, shocker, college didn't stick. Instead, she packed up and headed to New York City, chasing her big break. Spoiler, she got it, but not right away. Her acting debut came with a small role in the TV show Crime Story in 1987, where she played a juvenile intimate victim. Then came Satisfaction in 1988, a film no one talks about because, frankly, it's not worth talking about. But hey, everyone's got to start somewhere, right? Fast forward to 1990, and Julia hit the jackpot with Pretty Woman. Suddenly, she wasn't just an actress. She was a phenomenon. People couldn't get enough of her hooker with a heart of gold act. The film was a box office smash, and Julia had officially arrived. Did the script have depth? Not really. Did people care? Absolutely not. From there, her career became a roller coaster of romantic comedies, dramas, and the occasional dud. My Best Friend's Wedding in 1997 and Notting Hill in 1999 solidified her as the go-to for romantic leads. Then came Erin Brockovich in 2000, where she ditched the rom-com fluff and won an Oscar. You'd think that would have marked a new era of serious roles, but no. She wasn't about to give up the paycheck-friendly charm of crowd pleasers. Julia's collaborations with George Clooney began with Ocean's 11 in 2001. Their chemistry was undeniable, mainly because they seemed to genuinely like each other. Hollywood's fake friendships are a dime a dozen, but this one seemed real. They followed it up with Ocean's 12 and a few other projects, including Ticket to Paradise in 2022, where their banter carried the film more than the plot ever could. Rumors about George's personal life eventually brought Julia into the conversation. The internet loves drama, and any comment she made was carefully dissected, analyzed, and memeified, because that's just how we roll in the 21st century. Did she reveal anything groundbreaking? No. But her presence always seems to add fuel to the fire, ensuring that neither she nor George will ever be far from the spotlight. Meanwhile, Julia's personal life is pretty tame. She's been married to cinematographer Daniel Moder since 2002, and they've got 3 kids. She keeps her private life well. Private. For someone who's been in the spotlight for decades, that's an achievement in itself. While she's still working, her recent projects include Leave the World Behind and narrating Lisa Marie Presley's memoir. She's clearly prioritizing family over fame these days. Now about her friendship with Clooney. These two have managed to stay close despite Hollywood's notorious knack for chewing up relationships and spitting them out. They've pulled pranks, praised each other in interviews, and generally behaved like two people who genuinely enjoy each other's company. It's refreshing, sure, but also a little nauseating in that, oh look, they're just like us kind of way. Except they're not. They're absurdly rich, absurdly famous, and can probably order room service in their sleep. Julia's career, much like her public persona, is a mix of charm, talent, and calculated choices. She's not the risk-taker who'll star in some indie film for the sake of art. She's a brand, and she knows it. And hey, it's worked for her. But don't let the dazzling smile fool you. Behind the glitz and glam, Julia's as savvy as they come, navigating Hollywood's murky waters like a pro. Julia's rise to fame wasn't handed to her on a silver platter, even if her parents' artistic inclinations nudged her in that direction. She's always known how to play the long game, whether that meant starring in crowd pleasers or carefully avoiding scandals that could have derailed her career. Her charm lies in her relatability. Even when it's carefully manufactured, she knows the power of a smile, a laugh, and just the right amount of mystery to keep people intrigued. So, what do you think? Has Julia mastered the art of staying relevant, or is she just playing it safe? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, and subscribe.